Hi,
Hi, how are you?
good morning.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear your voice very well.
Good. Well, at least I have a voice today. I didn't have one a couple of days ago, so at least I can talk now.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I can hear you, I can see you, so we've got everything working, which is great. Let me just... Hello, everybody. It is Tanya Williams here, author of A Child-Free Happily Ever After and founder of the Childfree Choices Program. Now, I'm really excited today. This is a really important conversation that I'm going to be having with the lovely Anna Winterhill. Excuse my voice, guys. I've just got it back after being sick and it's not totally recovered. So if it pops in and out, I apologise in advance. Anna has a really great story to share and a really important story to share. So I think this is going to be a really relevant interview for so many women out there who are trying to go through the process which Anna has. So Anna, can I just get you to just do a bit of a quick intro about yourself and then we'll jump into some questions.
Yes. Hello, everyone. So my name is Anna and I'm from Hungary. Those who don't know where it is, it's like in the middle of Europe. So I live in Hungary. I am a 21-year-old and I have known from a very young age that I do not want to have any children. So I've actually just had my tubal ligation 2 weeks ago. I still have my scars here. And I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely painful and a hard procedure, but it's all worth it. So today I'm gonna share my story about it.
Excellent, excellent. We look forward to hearing more about it. So just to give, I suppose, a bit of context around this, there's been a lot of talk in the media. There's been obviously a lot of talk in child-free groups and so forth about how hard it can be for women around the world to have a tubal ligation. And typically there's been, most of that is from doctors pushing back saying, no, you're too young or you'll change your mind and you're going to regret it. So it is extremely rare for someone your age to have gone through this. So let's go back a few steps before we start to talk about that. How old were you when you, well, from memory, that you decided you didn't want to have children? Was it, you know, were you a teenager? Like, what was your first memory of thinking, I don't want to have children?
Well, it's quite hard to define the exact age. I think I was around 8 years old when my aunt had a boy, a baby boy. And you have to know the whole story that my aunt was a single mom and we all lived together. And my aunt had to work like from almost since the baby was born. So I was supposed to to look after the baby. So at a very
8 years
young,
old. Wow. They expect
at
an
8
8-year-old to
years
look after
old,
a baby.
I had to change the diapers and I had to look after the baby. And even though I was like a kid myself, I soonly realized that it's not for myself. Please do not misunderstood me. I do love my cousin, so I actually love the baby, but I hated the job around him. So I think I see it at most parents that they do love their children. They just simply hate the role of being a parent.
Yeah.
So it's a quite a difficult situation because of course they love their kid, but every children, even one child, does make so much difference in people's life. Sometimes they turn into the better, but often they turn it into worse, I guess. Yeah, that's the honest truth. So I was like 8 years old, and I had to do most of the jobs around the baby boy, my cousin. And as he grew, I thought that things would be much easier, but that was not the case. As he started to grow, things had actually become more difficult, because he started to walk, and because he was a boy, he was into fights. He really loved fighting, and he even started to be bigger than me. So it was hard to tell him not to fight with me, because I was just a little girl myself, even though I was 8 years older.
Yeah.
And I still have to help them a lot, even though now the kid is 14, I guess. Yeah, I am 21, so
Yeah. Yeah.
he's 14, like around 14. Yeah.
So you've sort of already been a mother, sort of, because you had to do that at a very, very young age. So you've sort of gone through a lot of that already.
Yeah, and the saddest part of this, that actually my aunt told me that Anna, do not ruin your life, don't have kids. And I think she actually meant it seriously, so she was not joking. Also, I have to say that she obviously loves her child, but she's a single mom, and it's horrible to be a single mom. There is all the responsibilities on her. Obviously, I was supposed to help her a lot, but still, being a single mom, it's horrible. So please do not be a single mom. Anyone who is listening this.
So when you obviously decided that you didn't want to have children, what did your parents think about your choice? Did they think, oh, you're young, you'll change your mind? Did they voice those types of concerns with you, given that you were so young?
Yes, absolutely, especially my mom. She was even saying, Anna, I'm gonna help you as a grandma, but please give me grandchildren. And I was like, Mom, but I do not want it at all. Please understand me.
Yeah.
So I think my mom still kind of does not accept my choice, but obviously I've just had a tubal ligation, but maybe my mom is hoping that I'm gonna adopt later in my life, so she can still become a grandma.
So are you an only child?
Sorry, what?
Are you an only child? Do you have brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I'm an only child. So there is a huge pressure on me.
Most definitely.
Yeah. See that a lot, that parents actually want to be grandparents, and they pressure their kids all the time to give them grandchildren. And I think it's horribly wrong, because everyone has to make the choice for themselves and not for the parents. Right?
I totally agree on you. I think that's very selfish of them to put that sort of pressure on you. And it does make it doubly harder when you are an only child. I was lucky. My younger sister has 3 children. I know a lot of people who don't have kids have siblings that have had children. So they've been sort of lucky to some degree that their parents have still gotten a grandchild. But when you're an only child, that makes it all very hard. So I can just imagine the conversations and the sorts of things that your mum would have been saying to you around that as well.
Yeah.
Do you have a partner?
Yes, I do have a boyfriend. And when we started to dating, things had become much more difficult, because actually his parents even more obsessed with having grandchildren and becoming parents.
Yeah.
So first time when my boyfriend introduced me to them, the first question was from them that Anna, do you want to have children? I mean,
Wow.
I was shocked. They did not ask anything else. That was their first question. And since that, every time I went to visit my boyfriend parents, they was asking me all the time, and I became really annoyed because of that. And actually, that was one of many reasons that made me even more to consider my choice to have a tubal ligation. So it's funny because the more they pressured me, the more I was
More determined you were to do it.
yeah. And but I'm still saying that it's extremely unfair that parents and your partner parents make that pressure on you, because eventually some women who have how should I say, who do not have such a strong will like I have. So some women will be so much pressure that they eventually gonna have children who they do not even want, and that is horribly wrong. Because if you decide to have children, it's something that you have to want wholeheartedly, and not just because you are pressured by society. And I see it many times, and it's horribly wrong.
Yeah.
At least my opinion.
Look, I totally agree with you. I don't think anyone should be putting pressure on you to do something that's not your choice, that it's right for someone else, but not for you. So, and that's part of, I suppose, a lot of the conversations that I'm having, and a lot of the content that I'm putting out, and conversations is around trying to say that you have a choice. You know, you don't have to be pressured. If your partner or your parents are telling you that you should have to do this for them, that is really unfair on them, and you still have a choice. So I totally agree with everything that you're saying. So let's talk more about the tubal ligation. So once you've decided that's what you want to do, what was the process? Because we hear in a lot of the media and so forth that a lot of doctors won't do the process, or they'll ask you to go through psychological testing and all these types of things. Once you had decided, what was the next step? Like what that process was, like what was that for you?
Okay, so I do not even know where to start because it's such a long story. So as I said, I have known from a very young age that I do not want children. And 10 years ago, it was possible in Hungary to have a tubal ligation at the age 18. But when I turned 18, it was not possible anymore, even though I was trying to reach almost all the doctors possible in Hungary. Everyone said, no, you are too young, you're gonna change your mind. And I said that, okay, that's gonna be my loss if I change my mind. Please that surgery for me. And they refused to do that, even though I knew for sure that I could not take any hormones, any kind of birth controls that contains hormone. So they actually knew that. So they told me that just use condoms. So I was annoyed by that. And I realized that it was not going to be possible in Hungary to get that procedure. And I remember I was a member of a Childfree group when I saw a meme. It was a meme that said this, like 40-year-old women can be sterilized. Tell me why teen pregnancies are more acceptable. So that was the map, And under the man, I saw a comment from a girl, and the comment said that something like that, that so many women in Hungary go to Slovakia to get the tubal ligation because it's much easier there, even for foreign people. So I saw this comment, and I immediately replied that really, where is this hospital? Please tell me every detail. And I found out that this hospital is a Mediclinic in Levice, it's Slovakia, and there is also a clinic, a hospital in Slovakia, in Bratislava, that is also the part of Mediclinic.
Yeah.
But I decided to go to Levice because it's a bit closer to me.
Yeah.
So I've got this information, and at that day I actually called the hospital, and I was quite surprised because they the woman who was at the phone, she actually could speak Hungarian. So I immediately told her that I'm interested in this procedure, and she also told me that I have to write a 2 pages long request, so to tell them why I want this procedure for myself.
Yep.
And I have to send them that request, and when they get it, they still have to wait 1 month, like 30 days. So there is a waiting period, but after that I can actually do that procedure. There is no problem with that. So the next day I've actually wrote the request, and I went to the I sent it actually, and it took a week then to get the request.
Yep.
But they called me and told me that it's okay, and now I have to wait 1 month time. I think it's because of like reasons, because I can still change my mind in 1 month or something like that.
Yeah.
So I actually had to wait 1 month after I've sent the request, and after that it was no problem for me to get the procedure.
Wow. So then you could book in and like book in a date to go and have the procedure.
Yes.
You actually had to travel out of the country, out of Hungary to a different country to have it done, but you got that done within about a month.
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised it was that fast, because I hear so many stories of women who are, having multiple conversations with doctors and having to go through these psychological tests and all sorts of crazy things, and basically jump through hoops and still get rejected and still get told that they can't do it. So I think that's amazing that they're literally listening to your story and going, yep, okay, that's acceptable, let's do this for you. So you want to get the process done. How long was the process? Was it a day procedure? Like, can you just talk us a little bit through how long it all took and so forth?
Okay, but before I talk about that, I have to mention that the day when I was at the hospital, there was a roommate who was from Poland, and she told me that she had to travel 10 hours to get there. So 10 hours. So I'm just want to say that if you are a woman out there watching this interview, I can totally recommend you Mediclinic in Levice, because there was a roommate who was willing to travel 10 hours to get. That exactly shows how good is that hospital. So that's just I want to say.
Yeah.
But then let's talk about the day of the procedure. So I had to get up really early, and I could not drink or eat anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually my boyfriend who could drive, so I had to count on him to get to Mediclinic Levice. We had to travel like 2.5 hours to get from Budapest to Levis, but it was totally okay. But when the GPS told us that we are at the hospital, it was quite confusing because there was a garden that it had kind of hidden the hospital from us. So anyone who is traveling to Mediclinic Levis, I have to warn you that it will be difficult because you have to get into the garden somehow, and don't let the garden deceive you because behind that there is the hospital. But it was quite hard to find that. But eventually we managed to find the hospital, and there was a description Mediclinic, so it was easier. So I arrived to the hospital, and I met my roommate from Poland, and I actually had to wait very long because the doctor wasn't even there who was willing to do the procedure. But the first thing they did to me, they put my leg, I do not know the exact word, they just wrapped my leg so tight, it wasn't a good feeling, but you probably know what I'm talking about. Later I found out it's because to avoid thrombosis.
Oh, yes, like blood clots and issues with your blood.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my legs were wrapped all the time during the procedure, and it was uncomfortable, but obviously 100% worth it.
Yeah.
And they also gave me an injection here.
Yep.
And I also had to wear that all the time during the procedure. But I can actually show some pictures if you want.
Oh, screen
describe. So it was uncomfortable. I will not lie to you. And I actually was quite confused why they were doing this to me. But as I said, later I found out that it was because to avoid that the blood go into my legs, I guess. I'm not a doctor, so please forgive me that I cannot give a right explanation, but for me, I was totally surprised why they needed to do that with my leg. And I think, I don't know whether you
can sort of see. Yeah, I can sort of see where they've got your leg.
Yeah, my legs, as I said, in my hand. You can see. So that's gonna happen to you if you also go to medical, but it's not that painful. Of course, it's uncomfortable, but not that painful. I was actually able to smile. So that's not that bad. It was before the procedure, and this is actually after the procedure. But as I said, do not be frightened because you can see.
You look like you're still tired from the anesthetic.
Yeah. But
so how long did the procedure actually take? So once you went into the operating theatre, like hours? Like how long was it?
So as I said, I had to wait a very long time because the doctor, for some reason, wasn't there. They told me that he was operating somewhere else. So I had to wait, and it was extremely difficult because, as I told you, I could not eat and drink. But eventually, it was not the doctor, but another doctor who put me in sleep.
Yep.
He arrived and asked me some basic questions to be able to put me sleep.
Yep.
And the funny thing that I could not even meet my doctor who did the procedure. I only met the doctor who put me in sleep. So right before the procedure, I had to get rid of all of my clothes.
Yep.
And the nurse led me into a room, and the last face that I saw before I fall asleep was the doctor who put me asleep.
Yeah,
but
so the anesthesiologist does that, yeah.
Yeah. And he was actually very kind. He touched my face and told me that it's gonna be okay. And he was very sympathetic because he told me that they do not just tie my tubes, they cut it and also burn it with a laparoscopic method.
Yep.
I'm not sure the right name. So they make it even safer, not just cut, but also burn it. And he was sympathetic because he told me that he feels bad for women who do not have rights over their own bodies. He told me that, as I said, I had a roommate from Poland. So the doctor told me that many women travel 10 hours from Poland because in Poland, not just tubal ligation is illegal, but also abortion is illegal. And he told me that my Poland roommates cannot tell this about this procedure. And so when someone from Poland comes there to have an abortion, they also cannot talk about in their own country because their own country actually would be in prison because of that. And I was like, how ridiculous is this that their own country refused to help them and they have to travel 10 hours to get to a totally different country. And I was
not fair, it's not right at all.
Yeah. So as I said, the doctor was very kind, and I could feel that he's actually supporting women and women's rights over their bodies. So his face was the last thing that I saw before I fall asleep. They put a mask on my face and also inject something to my arms. And I have fallen asleep. And when I woke up, I was so weak. You could see on the picture. There was a little belly pain, but just felt so weak. It's not so painful, but so weak and uncomfortable. So it's not a pain that you cannot bear. The worst thing was that I was actually very thirsty because I had not drink anything like in 20 hours. So I started to drink, and to make things worse, I was vomiting all of that I drank before, and then the doctor came to me and told me that Anna, you are not supposed to drink anything. So I had to wait till night when I got home to finally drink something. So I can tell you that the fact that I was not able to drink for 24 hours is much worse than the pain that you're gonna experience because they cut your belly. And if I talk about cutting my belly, I wanna show you where exactly they did this. A moment, I had to a little undress. So they cut it two places. What you can see here in my belly button,
Yeah.
and
And down further.
can you see that very
Yes.
well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So it's
they
obviously still healing.
yeah, 2 places, and did this with this method called laparoscopy. I
Yep.
guess
Yep.
that's right.
Yeah, well, they
Yeah,
go with a little microscope, I think, and they put a little microscope
yeah.
on it, so they do it. Yeah. How long did the actual operation take? Like, how long were you asleep for when they put you under?
I'm actually not sure, sure, maybe half an hour.
Oh, so it's really quite fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now, how long has it been since you've had the procedure done?
Can you ask me again? So,
How long has it been since you've had the procedure done? So it's been it's been about 2 or 3 weeks since you've had the operation, yeah? Or longer?
the pain lasted days after I've got the tubal ligation and got home. But I'm telling you that it's not that bad pain. Like when I was getting up and walking, I could feel that it was getting into my belly.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can feel pain. And I've actually forgot to mention that before the operation, they put many gases into your belly.
Yeah.
They make bloating, and that's because of this method they can reach easier your uterus. So
Yeah.
it was also very uncomfortable that they caused me a really big belly. They made my belly bloating. I was also not expecting that. It was quite surprising, but I looked like I had a pregnant belly after the operation.
Yeah.
And that made things even more uncomfortable because my belly was not just hurting, but it was also bloating. So yeah.
Yeah.
And
It is really uncomfortable when you
I
get
think,
bloating
yeah,
normally. Yeah.
I'm still bloating because my belly is usually smaller than this, so I'm just bloating.
It looks very small now, so there must be nothing there normally. So, Anna, what has been the reaction from your parents and your friends since you've had this procedure done? Have they been really supportive, or have you got some criticism from people?
I would say I've rather got criticism. They were actually shocked because of my decision,
Yeah.
and also it's kind of my fault because I did not tell anyone but my boyfriend
Yeah.
and me.
Yeah.
And I did it in purpose because I was so scared of getting the procedure. Not the procedure, but I was scared that the doctors would refuse it because of my age. You know, I'm 21, so it's a pretty damn young age. So until the last moment I got the procedure, I was afraid that the doctors will suddenly say that no, we are not going to do this for you because you are too young. So I kept that secret for me and my boyfriend, and I only told this to everyone after I've had the procedure.
Yeah.
And I think that was the right thing because they would try to stop me somehow to do this. As I said, they pressured me before to have kids, to give them grandchildren. So I knew for sure that if I told them this right before the procedure, they would somehow kind of stop me or criticize me. So yeah, I know that it is not a fair thing to keep a secret, to lie to your friends and your parents, but at that time that was necessary.
But
And
it's also your body and your right and your life as well.
Yeah.
So really you shouldn't have to justify that or ask for anyone else's permission because this is about you and what you need,
Yeah.
what not everyone else's needs. So if they're upset that's on them, not you. You know what I mean? Like, you've done the right thing for you, and I think that's a really brave thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. And the truth is that I actually did not tell it to my boyfriend's parents because I know that they would kill me, really. Really. So
Yeah.
I can say that it's really bad, that bad. So that my boyfriend's parents, they are so obsessed with grandchildren that if they would found out that I had this procedure, they would be extremely angry. And I do not understand why, because my body is not belong to them. I am not a breed a creature for breeding. They do not own me. So I think it's ridiculous that nowadays still in so many countries people think that they own women's body, but it's my body, so absolutely my choice.
Totally agree.
And that,
Has your boyfriend been it sounds like he's been supportive of your choice? Has he been like really happy with what you've done and has recognised that this is your decision as well?
well, it's quite difficult because when we first met, when we first started to dating, he was so brainwashed by his parents that he could not imagine his life without kids. But then I've asked him, why do you actually want kids? And he couldn't even answer that question. He said that his parents made it so obvious for him that he did not even was thinking about it. And also later I was asking him that would you really willing to give up your lifestyle? I know how much you like to sleep and you wake up early. So soon he started to realize that he was actually not into children. But as I said, his parents were so obsessed that pressured him every time. But he had to realize that it's a decision that he has to make for himself. So he realized that he do not want to change his lifestyle, and he's happy with me, but he's also 100% sure that his parents would be extremely mad about it, which I said I do not understand because they are not my owner. They do
It's not their body. It's not their body. It's not their choice. You should be able to do what's right for you. That's so true. Two more questions before we finish up. Do you have any regrets about what you've done?
No, what I do regret that I had to lie about this, and it is kind of my fault. But also the society and people, the fault of people around me, because in many societies, especially Hungarian societies, they are so obsessed with children. They think that is the norm and they cannot think elsewhere. So it's something that I knew for sure that I had to keep it in myself. And I have regrets because I wish I could have freely speak about it. And it definitely needs to change. Society has to accept more and more us child-free people. So that is my biggest regret, that I had to keep it in secret and I could not freely speak about it.
You know, and it's a shame that you can't do that, but I totally understand why you did, and I think you've made the right choice and the right decision. And hopefully by having these conversations and sharing these types of stories with the world, then people will start to see why it's important and that it is not about them. It's about, you know, you and your choice, and it really is no one else's business. So I think you're very brave and very courageous to one, go through this procedure, but to share your story and be passionate about what you want and be happy to live your life for you. I think that's amazing, Anna. So I take my hat off to you and congratulate you for doing that, because it is it's a really big, important thing to do, and I just think it's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Now, before we go, one last question. What advice would you give to other women who are trying to get this procedure done and maybe are having issues with their doctor telling them that they won't do this procedure? Do you have any advice for them?
Well, I think if they 100% want this procedure, they have to make a sacrifice and search for a different country, as I did, and travel, because if they really want this, they will definitely find the way. Like, as I said, I found out about Mediclinic in Levis, so who knows, they will possibly find a place even if they have to travel. So I would say, if it's something that a woman really wants, she has to make the sacrifice and spare money and somehow arrange to do that big travel.
Yeah.
But even it's not so sure, but because she maybe finds about a closer country to herself. So I would say, go for it, spare your money, arrange the traveling and everything, and go for it, because it's like 100% worth it. So yeah.
Oh, look, it's been fabulous to talk to you. I know that your story is going to be one that so many women across the world are going to resonate with. I think they're going to be very grateful and thankful that you've shared the story and the procedure and how this has come about. So a big thank you for being brave enough to do that. It's just great to have this conversation. I think it's such an important conversation to have. And the more we share these types of stories around the world, I think the better place it's going to be for women who will then start to understand that they do have a choice to do what is right for them. And I think it's the more of us that have a voice and bring this conversation out, I think only great things can come of that. So thank you so much. I've really loved talking to you. I look forward to hearing more about your journey moving forward over the next few years, and the reactions of parents and parents-in-law, perhaps. But thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation, Anna. It really means...
Thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure. My absolute pleasure. And we'll definitely check back in again soon.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Anna.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.